The air in the room is thick not with silence, but with the deafening sound of a truth you've spent years running from. You are sitting across from the person you call your world, the one you've built your entire life around, and a single, terrifying thought slices through the comfortable illusion. If they walked away right now, would I survive? That sudden, cold dread that grips your chest, the immediate, visceral panic, that is the first undeniable clue. It is the moment you realize the intensity you mistook for passion was actually the raw, desperate energy of Henidam. This realization doesn't just shake your relationship. It shatters the very mirror you've been using to view yourself. It is a moment of profound emotional nakedness, where the grand architecture of your shared life suddenly looks like a house of cards, trembling in the wind of a single honest question. You start to see the cracks you ignored, the compromises that felt like sacrifices, but were actually just payments for a sense of security you couldn't provide for yourself. You begin to understand that your devotion was not a gift, but a debt you were paying to avoid the bankruptcy of your own soul. Every "I love you" was actually a plea for them to stay. Every gesture of kindness, a desperate attempt to secure your own emotional supply. We are taught to romanticize the idea of being incomplete, of finding our other half. We devour stories where love is a life raft, a salvation from the storm of self. We are conditioned to believe that the more we ache for someone, the more we truly love them. But what if that life raft is actually a chain, binding you to a person not out of choice, but out of a paralyzing fear of drowning alone? This is the brutal hidden difference between love and need, and understanding it is the only way to reclaim your life from the shadow of dependency. It is a journey into the darkest corners of your own heart, a path that requires you to confront the ghosts of your past and the insecurities of your present. It is the most high-stakes investigation you will ever conduct, and the prize is nothing less than your own emotional freedom. It is about realizing that the person you thought was your savior might actually be your cellmate in a prison of mutual requirement. You have been living in a curated reality, a world where the intensity of your pain was the only measure of your connection. Need is a hollow echo. It is the sound of your own emptiness bouncing off another person. When you need someone, you are not seeing them. You are seeing a mirror reflecting the parts of yourself you are too afraid to face. You see a provider of validation, a shield against your insecurities, a permanent distraction from the quiet chaos inside your own mind. The relationship becomes a transaction, a desperate unspoken bargain. I will give you everything you want, as long as you promise never to leave me alone with myself. This bargain is signed in the ink of insecurity and witnessed by the fear of abandonment. It creates a dynamic where you are constantly auditing the relationship, looking for signs of withdrawal or disinterest, turning every minor interaction into a test of their loyalty. It is an exhausting way to live, a perpetual state of emotional high alert that leaves no room for genuine peace. You become a detective in your own romance, always searching for clues of betrayal in every silence and every look. Your focus is never on their happiness, but always on your own security, making the relationship a selfish pursuit disguised as selfless devotion. This is where the suspense begins, a slow-burn psychological thriller where the villain is your own subconscious. The early stages of a need-based relationship feel intoxicating. It is an addiction, a rush of dopamine every time they reassure you, every time they choose you. This intensity is often mistaken for the deepest form of love. But the truth, the cold, hard fact, is that this feeling is not love for them. It is relief for you. It is the temporary cessation of your anxiety, the brief filling of a void that only you can truly fill. The relationship is not about shared joy. It is about shared survival, and that is a fragile, terrifying place to live. You become a hostage to your own requirements, unable to breathe without the oxygen of their approval, unable to stand without the crutch of their presence. The more you lean on them, the more you forget how to support your own weight, until eventually, the idea of standing alone becomes an impossibility. You are trapped in a cycle of craving and temporary satisfaction, never truly full, always hungry for the next hit of validation. Psychologically, this dynamic is a textbook case of codependency, a term often misunderstood. It is not just about being overly helpful. It is about deriving your entire sense of self-worth from your devotion to another person. You become a caretaker, a fixer, a perpetual emotional firefighter, because you believe that if you are indispensable, you can never be abandoned. The factual evidence is clear. Relationships built on this foundation are not nurturing. They are draining. They do not encourage growth. They enforce stagnation. They create a closed loop of anxiety and reassurance that leaves both partners exhausted. The person being needed eventually feels suffocated, their identity eroded by the constant demand to be someone else's everything. They begin to feel like a utility, a resource to be managed rather than a human to be loved. The person who needs them lives in a state of perpetual fear, knowing deep down that their entire emotional structure rests on a foundation of sand. It is a slow erosion of two souls, a process where individual identity is sacrificed on the altar of a dysfunctional union. Now let us turn to the terrifying, liberating concept of love. 1. True love is not a desperate grasp. It is an open hand. It is the radical acceptance that you are whole, complete, and capable of standing on your own 2 feet. When you love someone, you choose them, not because you require them to survive, but because their presence enhances a life that is already rich and fulfilling. The great philosopher Erich Fromm captured this perfectly. Immature love says, I love you because I need you. Mature love says, I need you because I love you. This is the ultimate emotional pivot, the moment the relationship shifts from a prison to a sanctuary. It is the transition from a state of deficit to a state of abundance, where you are no longer looking for someone to save you, but looking for someone to walk beside you as you save yourself. It is about sharing your light, not using someone else's to hide your darkness. It is a love that breathes, that expands, and that allows both individuals to become the best versions of themselves without fear of being left behind. The need in mature love is a consequence, not a cause. You need them in your life because you have chosen to intertwine your journey with theirs, because you value their perspective, their companionship, and the unique way they challenge you to be better. This is the realm of secure attachment, where two whole individuals form an interdependence. They are not two halves desperately trying to make one. They are two separate, strong pillars supporting a shared roof. They can be apart without panic, because their connection is rooted in trust and respect, not in fear of abandonment. They understand that their individual strength is what makes their collective bond unbreakable. They do not fear the distance, for they know the bridge between them is built on the solid ground of mutual autonomy. They celebrate each other's independence, knowing that a partner who can stand alone is a partner who chooses to stay. This choice is the most powerful form of validation a relationship can have, a constant daily decision to be together. The emotional contrast is stark. The need-based relationship is characterized by high drama, intense jealousy, and a pervasive sense of obligation. Every argument is a crisis. Every moment of silence is a potential threat. It